Few names in the world of literature evoke as much awe and dread as Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Born in Providence, Rhode Island in 1890, this unassuming man would go on to reshape the very fabric of horror storytelling. But who was H.P. Lovecraft, and why does his work continue to haunt us a century later? From an early age, Lovecraft showed a fascination with the unknown. His grandfather, Whipple Van Buren Phillips, introduced him to Gothic literature, sparking his lifelong obsession with horror. Whipple's grand Victorian home, filled with dark nooks and crannies, may have even inspired some of Lovecraft's eerie settings.
I have seen the dark universe yawning, where the black planets roll without aim, where they roll in their horror, unheeded, without knowledge or luster or name.
Lovecraft's life was as peculiar as the stories he wrote. Raised in a household marked by tragedy, his father was institutionalized when Lovecraft was just 3 years old, leaving him under the care of his overprotective mother and eccentric relatives. These early experiences of isolation deeply influenced his worldview and his writing. As a child, Lovecraft found solace in books, devouring classical literature and developing a fascination with science and astronomy. Yet, despite his intellectual brilliance, he struggled with formal education and was plagued by frequent health issues. Lovecraft's isolation wasn't just physical, it was intellectual. He often described himself as out of step with the modern world, feeling more at home in the 18th century. This love of antiquity can be seen in his stories, where ancient ruins and forgotten knowledge often play a central role. His struggles extended into adulthood, where financial hardships loomed large. Lovecraft rarely held stable employment and lived in relative poverty for most of his life. Despite these difficulties, he found companionship in the literary community, forming friendships with notable writers such as Robert E. Howard, Clark Ashton Smith, and August Derleth. Through countless letters, some of which rivaled novels in length, Lovecraft nurtured an intellectual network that would help preserve and expand his legacy after his death. In 1917, Lovecraft began to focus seriously on fiction, writing his first major short story, Dagon. This tale introduced many of the themes that would define his work: the insignificance of humanity, the terror of the unknown, and the existence of ancient, powerful beings beyond comprehension. Lovecraft was also an avid letter writer, penning tens of thousands of letters during his lifetime. In these correspondences, he shared ideas, critiqued other writers' works, and discussed everything from philosophy to science. His letters offer an intimate glimpse into his mind and reveal the deep connections he formed with fellow writers, including Robert E. Howard, the creator of Conan the Barbarian.
The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown.
In 1924, Lovecraft married Sonia Green, a writer and entrepreneur. Their marriage was brief and tumultuous, as Lovecraft's reluctance to leave Providence and his financial struggles created insurmountable tensions. The couple separated amicably after just 2 years, though Green remained a supporter of his work until her death. Lovecraft's literary output, while prolific, brought him little recognition during his lifetime. Most of his work appeared in pulp magazines like Weird Tales, where he earned modest sums. Yet, within these pages, a new kind of horror was taking shape. Unlike traditional Gothic horror, Lovecraft's tales didn't focus on ghosts or haunted mansions. Instead, they delved into cosmic horror, a genre he pioneered.
That is not dead which can eternal lie, and with strange eons even death may die.
His philosophy was simple yet profoundly unsettling. Humanity is insignificant in a vast, indifferent universe teeming with incomprehensible forces. In Lovecraft's world, the monsters weren't just creatures, they were ancient, godlike entities. Cthulhu, Nyarlathotep, and Azathoth weren't merely villains. They embodied chaos, madness, and the fragility of human understanding. His stories, such as The Call of Cthulhu, At the Mountains of Madness, and The Shadow over Innsmouth, challenged readers to confront their deepest fears, the unknown and the unknowable. Lovecraft's fascination with forbidden knowledge and ancient texts was evident in his creation of the Necronomicon, a fictional grimoire frequently referenced in his stories. This mythical book became so famous that many readers believed it was real, cementing its place in pop culture. Yet, Lovecraft's legacy isn't without its shadows. His personal views, rooted in racism and xenophobia, are an undeniable blemish on his reputation. These beliefs seep into some of his works, complicating how modern audiences approach his writing. Nevertheless, his influence on literature is profound. From Stephen King to Guillermo del Toro, his fingerprints are everywhere. Without Lovecraft, modern horror would be unrecognizable. In 1936, Lovecraft was diagnosed with cancer and suffered from severe malnutrition. He passed away the following year at the age of 46, leaving behind a modest body of work that would only gain recognition posthumously. It was his friends and correspondents, particularly August Derleth, who ensured that Lovecraft's stories endured, organizing and publishing his work long after his death. Lovecraft's work endures because it taps into something primal, our fear of insignificance in an infinite cosmos. His stories remind us that the universe is vast, uncaring, and filled with terrors beyond our comprehension. And yet, in that very terror lies an undeniable beauty. So the next time you gaze at the stars, remember Lovecraft's warning. The greatest horrors aren't found in the darkness, they're hidden in the infinite void beyond. Dare to look? Thank you for exploring the mysteries of the Lovecraft universe with us. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more tales of cosmic horror and forbidden knowledge. Until next time.